I mean, it always is great when, the vendor and the customer can work together and innovate together. And I think, yeah, it clearly is or has been a successful project. Hi, I'm Emma Quinn, Product Line Manager for XG Gameplan. Today I'm joined by Joe Kadir, Vice President of Sales, and Michael Fitzharding, Professional Services Manager. So today we're here to talk to you about one of our most recent products within the Imagine portfolio, and that is XG Gameplan. And more specifically, we're here to talk about how and why this product evolved in partnership with Nine Network Australia. So as we go through this session, we'll talk about the particular problem that Nine were faced with in their business and the Australian market at this time. And what makes this particularly relevant and important is that this was not just a problem that was specific to Nine. It's something that's faced by other broadcasters and sales houses as the shift in sales methodology starts to be adopted in other markets. So Joe, perhaps we can start by you providing us some background on the Nine organisation, what was going on in the Australian market, and when the engagement with Imagine first started.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Emma. Well, Nine is the largest locally owned media company in Australia, and they've got a series of investments around television, VOD, print, digital and radio. And they're the highest rating television network in the country. And their market has evolved over recent years. And interestingly, we've followed trends that have evolved in the UK, buying trends and behaviours. So it's no surprise that we were to follow an efficiency trading initiative in Australia just to get the best out of the inventory for our customers.
Yeah, indeed. And actually, it's a good time to point out that the UK and Australia, they're still quite ahead of the curve. So we have the likes of the US, the Middle East, the South African markets, and these places have still to adopt the audience-based model. So I guess, I mean, that's why this session is very relevant for those people, because they still need to roll this out and they still need to adopt, their own strategy to do this. In terms of the UK, though, we have an example of that from a project we worked with, and this goes to show how far back this actually happened. I mean, we're going right the way back to 2006, whenever we had a project with Sky. So Sky at this point, they actually were already working towards the audience-based model, and they had their own optimizer that they were working with. But they kind of just felt that it could do better, and they were still in the market to see what other systems were out there. And there were a few reasons for this. So one, as I just mentioned, they felt that, with their optimizer, it could have been subpar, and they just wanted to see what other options were out there and what was available from other vendors. The other main thing was they wanted to know that the system that they had in place, that it was scalable, that it could really support growth in the number of channels. And the reason for that is, Sky wasn't just a broadcaster, but it's a sales house as well. So they knew that scalability, it was vital, and it was a major factor in their decision-making process. And then the other thing was more of a vision of Sky, and it really matched well with Imagine and the way we were thinking at that time. And it was that, optimization shouldn't just be a one-time event. It needs to be an ongoing process. We can continuously improve and continuously optimize. So with those three things in mind, Landmark Sales, which is one of our products in the Imagine portfolio that's been around for 25 plus years, it's our traffic and sales billing solution. And it just seemed like a perfect fit for Sky. But of course, we needed to prove that and to sell that to them. So we did a POC with Sky where we were able to confirm right away that it was a more effective solution. So the results were better. It was definitely scalable. And we were able to tailor a solution to tackle this continuous improvement quandary that they had raised. I mean, from our perspective at Imagine, it was really great to have a reputable customer like Sky, and that hopefully for you, Joe, would show that we could really open up some new doors.
So following in Sky's footsteps, we started working with another broadcaster in Australia, a company called MCN, which is part of the News Corp organisation. And we were specifically to implement the landmark sales system to take advantage of the potential of improved inventory utilisation that our trading model could provide. And within Landmark itself is a module called Autobook, which is a linear impression-based optimizer that can optimize the demand and supply payloads across a single or multiple set of campaigns across an open period of inventory. And you know, the importance of that is that Autobook is the foundation of Gameplan. We've taken a module of Landmark currently running on AWS that allows us to plug in this optimization tool set into either our own products or in-house or third-party products to you know, provide for that optimization capability.
Yeah, that's great. And perhaps, Michael, if I can bring you in here, I mean, we are just talking about audience-based trading models, efficiency-based trading models. For those out there who aren't familiar with this as a concept, could you perhaps just sum it up for us?
Sure, Emma. Traditionally, advertising would have been sold according to a spot-based model, which is where a spot is sold according to the number of times it's shown, and each placement of the spot would have had its price. You know, and the price may well have been set by rate card or some other method. The downside to that is that you may or may not achieve a ratings target, or you may over-deliver or way under-deliver that target. The model that we've been talking about with audience-based selling is where you pay a fixed price for a guaranteed number of views. It eliminates the risk in that the advertiser does not overpay for advertising space in the event that few people are watching.
With all that being said, how did this opportunity with Nine actually initiate, Joe?
So Landmark's been very successful in introducing efficiency trading into the Australian market, and the clear objective for the new system that Nine was looking to implement was moving towards an audience-based model and move the market to this shift in trading, because it had been accepted by competitors, it had been accepted by agencies and other advertisers as the way of the future. So the challenge of re-educating the market had already gone away somewhat because of the work we'd done earlier with MCN, and the move towards this advanced trading model was something that was much more achievable with you know, the work that we'd already done.
So I guess then the next main hurdle would have had to have been to develop the actual business case. And I see that as being twofold. So, you know, firstly, their sales and traffic system, you know, in play, it had been around a long time. It was heavily invested and integrated within their business. So it would have been a huge undertaking to rip and replace that, both logistically and financially. So I imagine that would have been one concern. And then how do we go about validating the benefits of the solution that Imagine we're offering? So how did Nine address those challenges, Joe?
So the first of the challenges of not wanting to rip and replace their existing systems, Nine have got a long and successful investment in their own in-house systems. So simply replacing that with, you know, with our system such as Landmark would have been a very expensive exercise for them. And I mentioned earlier about the way we had developed Gameplan by abstracting the Autobook toolset and wrapping it in open APIs. So that modular approach with XG was really a fundamental benefit to the business case, because Nine could you know, effectively say to their managers and executives, you know, we're going to move to this new way of trading without losing the investment we've already made in our in-house system, and simply supplement it with an integrated product that effectively has been proven in the marketplace with Autobook, and will integrate with Nine and work with it within an AWS environment and move towards a cloud infrastructure that most of our broadcast customers are looking to transition to. So this protected their existing investment in their own in-house system, and we worked with them to tightly integrate the Gameplan module within that ecosystem.
It's interesting that we would launch Gameplan in the house system rather than, one of our own existing sales and traffic systems.
One of Imagine's philosophies is to adhere to open standards and open systems. So what better way to validate that than by initiating a product with a third-party application, albeit an in-house developed system?
Yeah, I suppose that's very true. What about the second challenge of validating the benefits of Gameplan to help justify the investment?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one because we'd obviously sold a solution that was based on the premise of building a standalone product for Nine. And to help demonstrate the business case, we had to show them that there would be some tangible business benefits derived from that investment. And the key premise of the validation was we were repackaging the landmark auto book toolset. So what we embarked on was a POC based on using Landmark. It involved taking an entire month's inventory, campaigns and ratings data for that entire month, and effectively rerunning that months of transactions through Landmark and using the auto book tool set. So effectively we had a measurement of the amount of inventory that had to be used to achieve a certain amount of ratings that had been committed to the marketplace. And we reran the same campaigns through the same set of inventory through Autobook, i.e. the predecessor to Gameplan, to determine how much inventory would be needed using the algorithms within Autobook to come up with the same ratings profile. We've done a number of Autobook or Gameplan POCs, and in every case, the amount of inventory that's been saved by using the Autobook or Gameplan algorithms has been substantial.
Yeah, I have to say, that is reminiscent. Even when I talked about the POC that we did for Sky, the numbers really were staggering. So that's a familiar message, which is good to hear. So I guess if we can focus a little bit more on Gameplan itself, and let's talk about the elements of that sets it apart from Landmark sales, and also how that works in the Nine environment. So perhaps, Michael, if you could just take a few minutes to talk about some of the Gameplan functionality and some of those key integration points.
Gameplan itself is a cloud-based application currently sitting in the AWS environment, utilizing the features of a cloud environment to scale up or down depending on the size of the run. Via the APIs, there's several key pieces of data that are supplied up to Gameplan. The supply data, which is your ratings, your programs, your breaks, and the current spots. The demand information is your campaigns, the campaigns that you wish to actually optimize. Along with the supply and demand, Gameplan also knows the business rules, the restrictions, clash, so it knows what to do with your particular market has any restrictions around advertising.
One of the benefits of that approach is when you look at the optimization process, it's not a one-off process, it's a continual process of optimization and re-optimization, removing inefficient spots that have been placed through prior processes or over delivery from prior processes, and continually re-optimizing to get the best utilization of the overall inventory. I think the smoothing, what Michael says, is correct. It's not applicable to every customer. It demonstrates the benefit of moving to a new architecture, a new development methodology, because we no longer have to build hard-coded features into Landmark. We can support workflows through adaptations of plugins.
And I also think it's probably worth talking about you were talking about how it's scalable, and Gameplan really is, it's ultra scalable, and I think that does set it apart from some other optimizers. So the key is, you know, we can create all these different optimizations and we can virtually just run those in parallel, and then be able to compare the results of each one and just select the best result and send that back for booking. And I think our main goal for Gameplan is we just want it to be fully automated. We want it to be as light touch as possible. So, you know, when I talk about all those different optimizations, we can actually automatically generate those with one user defined scenario as a starting point. We can then iterate on that, you know, in an extreme way or in a subtle way, and create other optimizations that just slightly differ from that original one. And then again, just spin them up, run them in parallel, and start to look at those results. But anyway, back to Nine. So one of the main reasons we chose to work, or they chose to work with Imagine, I should say, was the plan strategy, where they wanted minimum fuss of introducing an optimizer into their ecosystem. So it's in production, and you know it has been for quite some time. So the dust has settled. Joe, what are you hearing back from Nine? Are they reaping the rewards? What are their findings?
I think the results have been very positive all around. I think, you know, we need to understand that the game plan was one part of their overall change in marketplace approach, but it was an integral part because it helped automate the optimization and placement of a majority of their spots. So in terms of one of the main benefits, it's removed a significant amount of workload on the agency side, and moved a lot of the trading away from spot-based buying to effectively optimization through the system. They're able to offer the marketplace 100% guarantee on audience delivery. And this has been quite an important part of their strategy in terms of getting more surety on placement so that they could make changes in their business rules and approach to how they address the market.
That's good to hear. I mean, it always is great when, you know, the vendor and the customer can work together and innovate together. And I think, it clearly is or has been a successful project. So I think we can finish there for today. Joe and Mike, thank you very much for joining me to chat about this. I hope everyone watching at home has found it useful. So please do get in touch with us via our website should you want any more information on anything discussed today.